We are going to review how to create buckets and assessments in the EduSite Growing Success Gradebook. Once you've logged into the EduSite web app, select the class that you are working with along the left-hand side of the screen, and then select the Assessments tab along the top of the screen. To create a bucket, select the plus sign. To create a bucket, enter the name of the bucket and the weight of the bucket. We can now indicate whether to include a weight for each category of learning by toggling the KTCA button off and on. In this case, I'm going to indicate a weight of 30 for knowledge, 30 for thinking, 20 for communication, and 20 for application. We can now select Create to create the bucket. You can see along the top of the bucket that this bucket is worth a total of 30%, and that knowledge, thinking, communication, and application have all been assigned a weight. We can now create a new assessment. To create a new assessment, enter the name, the date that the assessment was due, and you can tag the assessment to curriculum standards. We can now indicate which categories of learning the assessment assesses. We can select the categories that apply to this assessment by clicking the letter for that category. So in this case, I've selected knowledge and application, and we can indicate how many marks each category is marked out of. In this case, category and application were each marked out of 100. We can now indicate the weight of each category of learning for this assessment. I will say that knowledge is a weight of 15 and application is a weight of 10. You will recall that I indicated knowledge is worth a total weight of 30 in this bucket, so this assessment's knowledge component is now worth half the bucket, and I had originally indicated that the application category was worth a total of 20 in this bucket, so application in this assessment is now worth half the bucket. I have now created the assessment. You can see the name of the assessment, the date the assessment is due, how many standards were assessed, and the categories of learning that are assessed through these color-coded dots. We can use the gray button in the top right-hand corner of the assessment to edit the assessment, make a copy of the assessment, or delete it. Once we've entered marks for this assessment, we can also share the marks with students by selecting Publish to Students. We can also publish the assessment to students by selecting the gray lock button. I will select OK to publish the assessment, and the marks will be visible to students and parents. To make a copy of the buckets that we created for another class and copy them into this class, we can select the plus button and select Copy Buckets from another classroom. We now have a list of all of the existing classrooms, and we can select a classroom to copy the buckets from the classroom that I'm selecting into my current classroom. We've now copied all of the buckets from an existing classroom into this classroom. Finally, to view which standards have been assessed based on which standards have been tagged to assessments, we can select View Assess Standards. In this view, we can see all of our curriculum standards, and by holding our cursor over the standard, we can see how many times the standard has been assessed and which assessment the standard has been tagged to. That's how you get up and running with assessments and buckets with the EduSite Growing Success Gradebook.